Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into what our source material is calling a major shift in public opinion about the economy, and it's one that could signal a pretty big political changes on the horizon.
Okay, so let's jump right in with this number, 42%. That's the approval rating for former President Trump, according to a recent poll our sources are looking at. But you know, that number, it's really just the tip of the iceberg.
Because here's where things get really interesting. That same poll found something huge. For the first time in more than a decade, voters are apparently trusting Democrats more than Republicans to handle the economy. I mean, that's a massive flip.
So, that leads to the million-dollar question, right? What on earth is driving this change? That's what we're going to unpack today. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to really break down these numbers and see why some are saying this is more than just a flash in the pan. So check this out. It's not just a national thing. The source points to a Cook political report looking at 36 super important battleground districts, places Trump won back in 2020. And now, Democrats are apparently leading there by 6 points. That's a serious swing.
And you can really feel why when you look at this next number. A full 70% of voters say the economy feels worse for their family. 70%. That's a whole lot of people feeling the pinch. Now, our source really zeroes in on one group in particular, independent voters. And this is where the numbers get kind of wild. Trump's disapproval among them has supposedly shot up to 70%. And get this, Democrats are now reportedly winning this group by 25 points. That is not just a gap, that's a chasm.
All right, so let's talk about what's actually happening in people's day-to-day lives that might be making them feel this way. And what's a better place to start than the biggest purchase most of us will ever make, a home?
The source flags this number, $408,800. That's the median home price, which has hit a record high. I mean, for so many people, that just pushes the dream of owning a home further and further away.
And it's not just the price tag. You've got mortgage rates jumping up too. The source says they went over 6.6% back in March. The result? Existing home sales just hit a 9-month low. It's like everyone, buyers and sellers, are just stuck. So all of this stuff, it's feeding into this general feeling of, well, economic gloom. And it's not just a feeling. The source points out that the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index, which is a really big deal, just hit a record low. Okay, so you have all this economic pressure, right? Well, the source we're looking at says there's another layer to this. It argues that people are starting to see what they believe is high-level financial misconduct, and it's making everything feel even worse.
And the source doesn't pull any punches here. It makes some really serious claims, saying the Pentagon has basically become a cash machine. It specifically points to a $24 million Pentagon contract and a huge $620 million loan that it says benefited companies tied to Trump's sons. And it's not just the source saying this. They quote political figures too. Senator Elizabeth Warren is quoted calling the whole situation blatant corruption in plain sight. And then you have Representative Ilhan Omar, who the source also quotes. She takes it even a step further, calling them, and this is a direct quote, the most corrupt first family of all time. So is all this just a coincidence? Well, the source we're digging into argues no. It claims this is all part of a very old, very deliberate political playbook that's designed to help the wealthy. And here's what they call it, the Two Santas strategy. It's a theory they attribute to a writer named Jude Wanniski way back in 1976. And the argument is that this strategy has been the Republican economic playbook for, well, over 45 years now. So how does it work? According to the source, it's a 4-step process. Step 1, when you're in power, you cut taxes, especially for the rich. Step 2, you jack up spending, a lot of it on defense. Step 3, you let the national debt balloon. And then, and this is the key part, Step 4, when a Democrat gets in office, you suddenly start screaming about that massive debt to block any kind of social spending. You see the pattern here? The whole idea, according to this theory, is how the talk about the national debt completely flips depending on who's in the White House. When a Republican is president, the debt's no big deal. But as soon as a Democrat is in charge, oh boy, it's a national crisis and we absolutely can't afford things like Medicare or student loan forgiveness. Okay, so let's tie all these threads together. How does this Two Santas theory connect back to those wild poll numbers we saw at the very beginning? Well, the bottom line from the source is this. You've got this perfect storm brewing.
an unpopular war, prices going up, and what it calls obvious corruption. All of this, it argues, is causing people, especially working people, to wake up and get angry. And that all leads us to the final, really big question the source leaves us with. It describes the MAGA coalition as cracking hard and fast. So, are these poll numbers just a temporary blip on the radar? Or are we seeing the first signs of a major, lasting political shift driven by working-class voters?